People shy away from like the sex questions, especially Asian Americans. Asians be fucking. Let's be honest. Like China has like 3 billion people. Like like we be fucking a lot. I got homies. They don't really be talking about sex.
I knew so many people like that. I dated like these Christian Korean boys that were like, my friends are such sluts because they sleep around. But then I'm like, wait, but you're like fucking me on our first date. So what did say? Like you're putting out.
Well, welcome to today's podcast. I think you were part of our 3rd episode, but you are back. Jasmine Rice Girl, everybody.
Hello.
Yes.
Good to be back.
The one and only horny tweeter that everybody know and love.
Should we record something a little special for the Fanhouse?
Oh, yeah. Okay, like a Fanhouse exclusive.
Yeah, something I'm curious about for you. Like, are you part of this podcast? How big are you?
Oh, that is so... Let's be honest. Gabe has seen money flaccid and hard. Me and Gabe have not been on threes. We got close, though.
Well, there's 3 of us here right now.
What are you doing? We are business partners, more importantly. Well, that's the Fanhouse exclusive. Jimmy talks about his... and what he has done with it. So if you guys want to know, subscribe to the Fanhouse. I approached you with a topic today, though.
Yeah.
That I think was very... that it's always been in the back of my head. Because I make a lot of raunchy content. And I felt like at times I would get like judgment here and there for making the type of content I do. Granted, I built up this character where I don't give a fuck if I'm approaching people, but I could still sense that people are scared of my questions. People shy away from like the sex questions, especially if I go up to random people on the street. And I'd be hovering around K-Town areas like that, right? And then I feel like a lot of Asian Americans are shy away from the topic of sex. And I have black homies, right? And they've been fucking since like 13, 14, right? It's in the Spanish community too. They be fucking early. And they're like their uncles and dads. They be passing down the knowledge to their sons and whatnot. And I think it's just like a common conversation topic in the households. Whereas like with Asians, not so much, right? And I think it has affected us growing up in the sense that like because it's not really talked about. Low-key, we might suck at it. I feel like the virgin population among Asian Americans might be the highest. I don't know if that's a true statistic, but I'm just I think it could be, right? And then that's why I see a lot of Asian dudes fall into like the nice guy trap and stuff like that. It's just a lot of because we don't talk about sex. We don't talk about sex appeal. We don't talk about attraction. We don't talk about how to create like a sexual vibe. And hence, they don't even get to the point of intimacy with a girl. So yeah, why don't you think Asians? Why do you think Asians shy away from sex?
I mean, it's so much of our upbringing, right? Like, this is something I feel so strongly about because I think this was my exact upbringing where like, right, so we were all immigrants from Vietnam. My parents grew up there. I was born there and then immigrated to the States. And yeah, like a lot of Asian countries have very repressive sex cultures and like restrictive ideas about sex and love, right? Like they're like, my mom was this very like, oh, you don't have sex until you marry, and then you marry one person, that's it for the rest of your life. Like that's what it means to be a woman and a wife. Like that's the duty of like a Vietnamese woman, really. Like that's what she believed in her head. And like if you do anything else, like like to her, right, like she's not Christian, right? She's Buddhist, but like there's very similar almost Christian ideas where like, oh, if you have sex before marriage, or if you do anything sexual like that, then you're a sinner. Like you're worthless as a person. You lose your worth as a person. And I think she tried putting a lot of that on me. And so that's one is like just these beliefs that they've had passed down because of the culture and generations. And the other thing is just like another thing about Asian people is that they don't communicate. Like especially our parents' generations and before them, like talking is not a thing Asian people do, right? Like your Asian parents don't tell you that they are proud of you, or that they love you often, right? Like they do a lot of the way they show care is through like acts of service, right? Like they'll work and bring home food. They'll make sure dinner is there for you, but they don't ask you about how you are. And this is interesting, but I actually have a very oh my god, I had such a traumatic like upbringing outside of the family, outside of the money stuff too, because my mom was just so emotionally abusive growing up because of some of these like I don't know beliefs that she had too, and like very like I don't know, like sex is
taboo, and
yeah, but like just like she, like for example, my parents never gave me the birds and the bees talk, right? Most Asian parents don't do that for their kids.
No.
Like you know how like in element or middle school or whatever, like they take you to like the gym and show you like a little talk on like sex and what it is. And then to go, your parents have to give you consent. They have to like sign a paper, and my parents would never sign that, so I never even got that version. And you know what my mom would tell me what sex was? She would straight up lie to me. She would be like, sex is when you like hug a boy. Oof. and you can get pregnant when you hug a boy, because she literally like drew this out scientifically. She was like, if you hug a boy and he gets excited, he'll shoot sperm into his pants, and that sperm will like travel through like the lining of the pants and like diffuse over to your pants and get you pregnant. Wow. And I was like, Mom,
some ambitious sperm.
I was like, Mom, you really underestimate how smart I am, because I know this is cap. Like I know this is a lie. But anyways, like she was so, it's just such a deeply, ingrained belief, right? It's like, like when there are people that are in like the deep south, what are they called? Like people that wave like Confederate flags, right? That like genuinely believe that like, oh, like America's
better with with white people.
Like that believe that immigrants are bad because they grew up with a set of values and beliefs where it's like, oh, immigrants are like evil and immigrants like are doing these bad things. Like that's pretty much my mom and a lot of Asian parents.
So they impose those beliefs onto their child and think that's
beliefs
right.
about people that have sex. Like they genuinely believe people that have sex,
are sinners.
Before marriage, are like evil or bad, are gonna go into this, route of like debauchery or whatever. Yeah. But in high school, like I got my sophomore year of high school, I like was dating this guy. Yeah. And I was listen to me. I know I'm a horny little bitch now, but in high school I was such an innocent sweetheart. Like I was a virgin. I was like, I don't even want to touch sex until I'm like 18 because I'm too young. And I actually didn't. I was just like, I feel like I don't know enough about it and I'm not gonna do it. But I had a boyfriend, and as soon as my mom found out that I had a boyfriend, she flipped out. Like she went to my high school and got my schedule and went to every single teacher and talked to them for like an hour each to tell them that I was a liar and a whore and a slut. And
your mom called you that?
Yeah, to my teachers. And I found out because my teachers told me. They were like, did you know your mom came in here today and told me all of this? Because I was literally like
that's kind of intense, Mom.
Yeah, holy I was like shit. Sweet angel. I was literally like class president, like valedictorian of my high school all 4 years. So my teachers were like, "Is something going on at home?" And I was like, "But she did this," and she even like got my my ex's address somehow in high school. Went to his house, took pictures of his house, and then knocked on the door, talked to his parents, and were like, "You need to leave my daughter alone, or I will like call the police to like arrest you." And I found
your mom's a powerful woman. Used for the wrong reasons, but she is that is an FBI agent.
But yes,
that the making.
She's batshit crazy. She was she was like Tiger Mom to the extreme, like Tiger Mom on acid. I don't know, but so that's why I feel like I really understand.
We're scared of sex.
She's just so scared that I would like if she's.
But you still had it though.
Eventually, but not at that time.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Yeah. Like, I make out sometimes. That's it.
Yeah. You told your mom, like, oh, I make out sometimes.
No, she's not going to listen to any. She was just literally like, she came home to me. She's like, you're going to break up with this boy, or like, I'm going to ruin your life. Pretty much.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and this is another story too, but I have an older sister who went through the exact same thing. Yeah. Like, to the point where, like, my sister tried to commit suicide because of the things my mom did to her.
Oh no.
And my sister and I used to share a room, and I woke up actually one morning and my parents were yelling. I woke up, like they're yelling in Viet. They're like, mày muốn chết thì mày đi chết chỗ khác này, mày đừng có chết trong nhà của tao. Which was basically like, if you want to die, like go somewhere else. Don't do it at my house.
Oh man.
I woke up and I turn and my sister's crying and her wrists are on the side. There's blood on them and there's a knife. You know, I see a knife like next to the bed and I like put two and two together. But yeah, not to go into all but like my sister went through worse. And I'm just saying, what I went through. But basically a couple months passed. I kept trying to date this boy in secret, right? Because hey, when you're in love, you love.
The first love be slapping.
And really, like, I didn't believe I was doing anything wrong. I was like, I'm keeping up with my grades. I'm doing, I'm not doing anything bad. I'm not doing drugs.
Just want to make out.
Yeah.
Just want to make out.
Oh. So I dated in secret. We eventually got caught, and my mom
caught you.
Yeah. She was like going through my phone or something and like my messages, and so she went to my school and tried to withdraw me from school. I woke up one morning ready to go to school and she was like, I'm not taking you to school, like pack your stuff. She printed out tickets. She had like tickets to go back to Vietnam and she was like, like you're done here. Like she was like, I'm taking you back to Vietnam. You don't know how to be a good Vietnamese daughter anymore and we're gonna raise you again. It was like that intense. So I was 17 at the time. I was junior year. I had to call my sister who had already moved out from home for the same reasons. Didn't talk to my mom at all. My sister called the cops. And the cops came to my house and they were like, okay, you're 17 in Texas. 17 is like legal enough to be emancipated. So you can like legally leave your family, like your parents, and they don't have a say over you anymore. So actually what I did for my junior year of high school was I moved out of the house. And then, the cops took me to school. I explained this to my mom, who was in the process of trying to withdraw me. And they're like, you can't withdraw her from school. Like, you don't have any say over her life anymore. Yeah, it was such a crazy moment. Like, I remember it so well. Like, my mom was like looking at me like teary-eyed. She'd like, how could you do this?
No, that's right, Mom. The kids win. We get the dub. No. There's so many moments where I had like that rebellious type of thing with my, because you need that to be able to really live the life that you want. And especially if you have like really strict Asian parents, you need to rebel. You cannot fold. You cannot fold under their dictatorship. And it's a dictatorship in those households. And they will mentally fuck you. Sometimes, hold on. They will like physically hurt you too. Yeah. And then you're this kid, like, I mean, granted, I started lifting weights and then I'm like, what's up, Dad? What's up? But for a good chunk of my life, I was like, I got hit.
Yeah. And I used to grow up thinking that was normal, but it actually really isn't. And like, I don't know. So
hearing that like makes me happy.
Yeah.
You. Yeah. I think it honestly attributes to your success today.
I think so. It was very like. I would say that I'm a very brave person, right? Like you said, my mom's powerful, but actually I am more powerful than my mom at 17. So I moved out and I worked part-time, provided for myself.
Where were you living? Just like
I moved in with my sister.
Okay.
She was living like she was sharing like a room in somebody's house, and then I just stayed there for a little bit, and for those couple of months, like I kept up my grades. I still had a 4.0, and then I came back to my mom and I was like, look, I'm still dating this guy that you think is bad, and I'm still doing well. Like, can you just trust me? Because so I think the thing about me is like, through all these things that my mom did to me, I was really able to empathize with her. Like, I know she was wrong, right? Like these are wrong, abusive things, but I understood that she did it out of like love, right? Love and desperation, and right, again, if she truly believed that like what was best for me were
were her beliefs,
and like she's trying to get me there, like I can understand that, and I was able to forgive her, and right, I was like, Mom, I'll move back in, right? Like I want to be with the family and provide for you and help you, but like you gotta promise not to like do this crazy shit. And I actually made her sign a contract and then move back home because the family was also falling apart because my parents were arguing all the time. They were gonna like divorce, and so I moved back, and I was like, okay, like for senior year, like I'm gonna do me. You're gonna watch it happen. You're gonna hate it, but then you're gonna find out that I'm okay because I can take care of myself. And that's exactly what happened, right? Like
it's either you're okay with it or I'm out this bitch.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't have a choice, but I got accepted to Pen on a Full Ride, and they were like, okay, she's doing her thing. And I think that kind of tension and like being able to overcome it really helped me and my mom build this trust that we never had. That was really hard to build. Like I get like in Asian households, like yeah, like you can, like my mom and I fought all the time. Like she would say things like, you don't love me, you don't care about me, like always crying, these crying battles. And like finally we were just able to like see eye to eye, and like one night we had this heartfelt conversation. And I know this now because my mom shared with me. She was like, yeah, like she apologized. She was like, I'm so sorry, but like I really was so scared that you were gonna hurt yourself, and I was trying to protect you, and I know now that I was wrong, but like this is right, this is what my mom taught me and what her mom taught her. So it's just generations of like you know, ignorance that gets passed
well
down.
I wouldn't even say ignorant. I think it's more so just a different set of traditions and value, because that's the things that they were told, and maybe they lived a decent life because of it in China or in Vietnam, whereas like here the values in the US is completely different than those traditions. And were you an immigrant, or how old were you?
I was one when I came, so I was very young.
Yeah, I mean I was 5. Yeah, so it's like but our parents did not grow up here, and that's why they have those set of traditions. So I think I had a similar experience, not to that extreme, but I definitely had to make up in my mind that I was like, you know, they, like, my parents need to know that I will do me, whether they're here for me or not. Like, I will be homeless and do YouTube if I needed to. Like, I think that's the ultimate, like, letting go. But it's very scary.
It's so hard.
But yeah, that's the way to do it.
I don't blame anybody that can't. Like, obviously, yeah, like you and I have done it, and I encourage people, like, if you're able to, like, stick to what you believe. Like, you are gonna be better off for it at the end of the day, and your parents will eventually see that and recognize you. Or even if they don't, like fuck it, they're wrong, right? Like, you're doing what you believe. But I understand, like, a lot of them hold. Yeah, like you said, this dictatorship, right? They hold this power of you. Like, my mom for a long time was like, well, I provide the roof over your head. I provide your food. Like, you can't leave because you'll die on the street.
No, I could, you know, like, I might, but I'll try to fend for myself on the street, you know, rather than, and that takes a lot of conviction to be able to be like, you know, I would rather die on the street than live in this fucking abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive household. That takes a lot of conviction, and a lot of, I would say 95% of people probably fold under their parents', you know, decisions and whatnot.
But I think that the good thing is we all have time, right? And things get better, and like, right, like once you turn 18 or after you graduate, like you're able to, and right, or once you get a job, like you're able to carve this new path for yourself. So always continue to seek it. Like, never settle. Like, even within your family, never be like, oh, I have to accept these things because it's what my parents told me. Because, listen, your parents are flawed people too. Like, they are learning every day, and sometimes, like, sometimes you know more than them, and sometimes you have to teach them. And that's what I ended up having to do to my mom, was like, we would have so many late nights conversations where where eventually when I did have sex, I told her, I'm like, hey mom, like, you know, I had sex now. And like,
how was that?
Right? And like, and she really has sex, but like
how'd you take that conversation?
And no, but it's like, for her, it helped her be able to see, like, okay, well, my daughter did this thing that I thought was so bad, but like, I mean, look at her thriving. Like, now I'm at Penn with a 3.92, right? Like, I'm still keeping up my grades. I'm still doing all of these things. I'm sending money home every single, and I think a lot of the power dynamic shift too, because after she became disabled, she couldn't work anymore, and I was sending money home for them. So it was kind of like, it was almost like, like flipping the switch where like, like, this is kind of my house and my rules now because I'm the breadwinner. So like, listen.
That should do slap. I'll say, when I started making money, that feeling definitely slapped. I think my first Facebook contract, I like, this was right after college, and I got a contract from Facebook for $10,000 and 10K a month. And at that point, I was making more than my mom and dad combined.
Yeah, so that was crazy. Yeah, like the first time it happened, I was like,
I bawled. I was crying. I was like, joy. I was like, y'all got nothing on me. And that was only because the year prior, I had enough conviction to tune them out.
I'm so proud of you. I had the moment too, but it was more, I don't know, I had resolved the stuff with my parents. It was more like, okay, yay, like, I can take care of you all. Like, so meaningful. But yeah, like, it was so interesting. Yeah, like our new relationship dynamic. Like my mom and I are so close now. Like she comes to me for advice, and I tell her things. But like, for some moment, for some point in time, like I felt like I was teaching my mom about sex, right? Because she was this person that never had sex until she married my dad and never.
Wait, I'm curious. Was it just like the one time, like let's make a baby, and then all right, cool?
Well, okay. If you must know.
That's weird. I don't think I need to know that. Is that a weird question, Gabe? I don't know.
No. Okay, my parents have sex more than the one time. Okay, but yeah, it was so crazy because my mom was now telling me these things about her sex life.
Oh fuck!
And I felt like I started being able to empower my mom the same way I feel like I do with my Twitter right today. Where like when I talk about sex and like tell people it's okay to have sex,
right.
I felt like I was having that conversation with my mom. I was like, Mom, like sex is supposed to be pleasurable. Like that's not something she knew. Because no one told her that for her entire life. No one said sex should be pleasurable. Like the way she was taught was like sex is a means to like like
to
having
reproduce,
a baby.
Reproduce.
Like because that's your role. Like you have to have sex so that you're to like it's your duty to your husband and to your family.
Yeah.
But like and like I don't know if this is TMI, but yeah, my mom would tell me, right, like, oh, I didn't know. Like, I just close my eyes and wait for it to be over every time. And I'm like, no, Mom. I'm like, no. If you don't want to do it, you say no, right? Like, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's been...
You educated your
but it's
mom.
crazy because, right, it made me really realize that, like, a lot of times they just don't know these things. And, like, because I got to grow up in America and, like, learn different things. And I do think, I don't know, that's why I do say it's ignorance because it is that she grew up in this very, like monotonous, like, closed-minded kind of culture. And so she never was introduced to anything else. But, like, I felt like, like, I feel like now, like, she's a much different person. Right. I think she is happier and, like, you know, her relationships and, like, empowered in it. And that's really what I want to give for so many people too, because I know there's so many other, you know, Asian girls out there that grew up like me, like for a long time didn't know, like thought sex was a bad thing, like didn't know that like sex was supposed to feel good. Like I was so scared for my first time because everyone, like I always thought.
Wait, what was it, like in college or was it with the same guy?
It was my senior year of high school, so it was after I turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was kind of, it was like, I don't know, it was my own little goal for myself. I'm like, when I'm 18, I deserve to have sex. So I turned 18, I went skydiving, and then I had sex. So it was with this, my first love, I suppose. But it was nice. I mean, it was very. Like,
was it nice? Because the first time was terrible for me. It's fire.
It was nice in terms of like I felt safe.
Okay.
But it wasn't like.
It's like, bro,
oh, this is good sex.
Yeah,
you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
You
so
don't.
it was like the most mid sex ever, but it was fine. Like it was what I wanted for a first time.
Sure,
But yeah. Sex is bomb now. Sex is good.
Oh yeah.
Sex is so bomb.
Sex.
I encourage people, if you want to have sex and you want to do it safely, like go do it. Don't let anybody stop you.
Yes.
Don't let people stop you from having sex.
But what do you think is your take on just the whole climate of Asian Americans in general as like, in relations to like, my personal take, I think a lot of Asian Americans are very, I don't know, Asians love money. Asians are like they care about brand image a lot, and they care about like showing face. Oh, so much. Right, like,
oh my god.
And because of that, they think like, you know, talking about sex or even bringing up sex would take away their brands and their wholesome image and and you know, potentially fuck up like some bags for them too. I think that's why I don't think you know, they shy away from. But you know, like they be fucking, like Asians be fucking. Let's be honest, like China has like 3 billion people. Like like we be fucking a lot, and we don't stop fucking. We just have babies. We be fucking and just like popping out babies. But no, in like Asian America, I would say that might be a big reason why. You know, like, you know, I got homies like Elliot, Kelly, like they don't really be talking about sex. You know. But I know they be fucking. Yeah.
No, I knew so many people like that. Like I knew so many, like, I don't know, like I dated like these like Christian Korean boys that were like, oh yeah, like, dude, my friends are such sluts because they sleep around. But then I'm like, wait, but you're like fucking me on our first date, so what is like you're putting out, bro. You're putting out. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the people I see in like content creation too, yeah, like honestly, most Asians in content creation are very timid and really shy away from the subject. And I think part of it is, I think they internalize the things that their parents taught them, right? Like they are kind of more like, oh, sex is taboo, and it's kind of like, you know, it should be very private. It's not something that you should ever talk about. And I think that's fine. Like, as long as you're not trying to like put that on other people, like those are your beliefs, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, like for some of them too, it's like, I don't even think it's their fault. I think it's like.
But sex is fun. Like why not talk about it? Like, you know, it's.
It's just, I mean, right, like I get called like a slut and a whore all the time because I talk about sex, right? So it's like, it's fun, but yeah, and that's what I was gonna go into is like, as a society, right, like not even outside of Asian Americans, like sex is still taboo, right? Like yeah, if you talk, like I actually have a friend that I love to like talk about sex with, right? But he literally got like a message from his sponsors that were like, you need to stop interacting with Jasmine.
Whoa.
Or like we'll drop you because you can't, right? Like, yeah, like brands, your sponsors will drop you for like talking about sex or being sexy. And like so there are like limitations on people too, right? Like, I mean, to some extent, like even Fanhouse, right? Like even me as like pro sex, like horny, whatever as I am, like I have to watch what I say on Fanhouse because we're on the App Store, because we work with Stripe, because we work with Cloudinary, because we work with a bunch of platforms where like, if I say the word masturbate, maybe they actually freeze my account. And even me as the co-founder of Fanhouse, I can't say anything about that because Stripe can just make that decision.
Right.
So yeah, it's like there's a lot of like just like societal factors and like positions of power that are very anti-sex. And like, I mean, as people that just live in that society, a lot of people just conform to that, and like, and I mean, it's the easy way out, and I don't blame them. But I think
what do you think that is? But because in Hollywood, it's actually like pro sex.
I think it is in media, but not in like. I mean, come on, like we just like America just overturned Roe v. Wade, right? Because they're like not like, oh, women shouldn't be able to have abortions. Like if you have sex, like you need to carry out. You know, like that's a very traditional reproductive mindset, right? And like even America, right? Like 1900 America was super like slut shamey, right? Like whoa, you have your knees out, like oh, or you have your ankles out, like whore. Like there's still like it's only been like 100 years, right? Like there's definitely still a lot of that, you know, ingrained in people because again it gets passed down. But like so I think it's a slow process to break out, but I genuinely believe like me and you, like, and I think because we're like, again, a little more rebellious in nature, right? A little more chaotic and brave, like we're able to like be at the forefront of these conversations. And I think the more conversations like this we have, the more it helps people to just really be like, dude, it's okay to do this. Yeah,
it's hard these days though. My videos are starting to get age restricted.
That's what I'm saying. Like YouTube too.
Yeah, lots of censorship.
Yeah.
And I realized it's not only censorship on you know the sex side of shit. There's also like a lot of censorship in terms of like freedom of speech, especially nowadays with because I'm friends with Sneeko, and I'm sure like you know there's a lot of people that and he's kind of on the Andrew Tate side of shit. Now I know that's a controversial take, right? Because he's also my boy. But I don't think there should be censorship on like freedom of speech. And I know we're kind of diverging here, but I just think that like repression and censorship is a real thing, and it's kind of, you know, it's tough for people who's trying to like fight.
That's a tough topic, and one I have a lot of thoughts on too, because I believe in like information and free will and letting people like be able to find answers for themselves, but also like at the same time like right, and again as a tech company, so we think a lot of about this from like an ethical standpoint and like seeing what happens with like, you know, Facebook or like these platforms, like when you let misinformation run wide and let a lot of people, right, because like let a lot of people believe things, like you end up with like half the population not believing COVID is real, or like you end up with like like the, you know, the January like riot insurrection where like people were out with weapons trying to murder people. And like when it gets to that point, like there definitely needs to be intervention to stop. and that's tricky because it's hard to know when something is gonna get to that point, right? But yeah, I know that's like after all of those events, now all the tech companies are trying to like really be like more on top of like what people are saying when something is false and when it's not. But yeah, I mean, I think like opinions are opinions, right?
Yeah,
like again, like something like sex, like if I like to have sex, that's not gonna kill anybody. Like
right,
it's not gonna kill anybody, and that's not something that should be censored. But something like, I don't know, like the Sandy Hook school shooting was fake, like that actually does kill people when you say things like that, because now laws are made so that school shootings can continue to happen. Right. So it's a fine line, but I know what you mean, in terms of like
censorship and stuff like that. In your experience, right? Do you think Asian guys have less sex appeal? That is the general like misconception or just like idea, right? Because it wasn't until like Crazy Rich Asians, right? Or like in the last like 3 to 5 years where like Asian guys started to get some risk points, some charisma points, right?
Right.
So in your own history, what do you think?
So I'm really into Asian guys. I usually date Asian guys. I usually think that they're, I don't know, like cute. Like my type is like cute, dorky Asian boys, like that look like nice guys for whatever reason.
Hell yeah.
But I think to your point though, I agree. I think that like it's not that Asian men have less, like they're less attractive or less sex appeal or whatever, but I think they don't know how to like be attractive or talk to women, because again, I don't think they're taught, right? Like in the same way I see like white families when I come over to their houses, like they're at the dinner table like talking about their relationships, right? And then their parents are giving that advice. Like you don't get that in an Asian household. So you have to like figure this all out yourself and you're fucking like 12, 13, whatever the crap. And like it's like a lot of guys don't know how to like put efforts into like how they dress, for example. And again, like you said too, like Asian values are so much around like education or like money, and like right, like that's why I feel like I see so many, you know,
like
Asian kids,
high achieving like academically, but then like man, you get no cheeks. Like the whole
I mean the whole stereotype is a little true, but like you're right, like I went to a super Asian high school, like, and a lot of them are like, right, like oh, the glasses Asian kid who's deep in the books and like doesn't talk to girls, and like a lot of people are like that, and like, and at some point it makes it, I mean as time goes by it makes it harder and harder to like break out of that. But I do,
because you're hanging out with the same people. You're not hanging out with the jocks and like the football people who's like, you know, sharing secrets about like, you know, where should you make out with a girl? You know, stuff like that.
But I think it's a socialization thing more than it is that like Asian men inherently are just not attractive, because that's not true. Like, right. Y'all are so hot, right? And like you just need to fucking brush your hair, right? And like put on a nice shirt, right? Like get out of the same pair of shorts. And I feel like as someone that's like like I've dated guys where like I push them to do a lot of that stuff.
You're not doing it for me right now, but you know, if you just take a shower, you'll be good.
Or like even my own brother. I'm like I like get him stuff. I'm like, hey, this will look good. And actually, to his credit, like I feel like he'll take a little bit of help and like go the rest of it his way. Like I'm so impressed. Sometimes I see his looks and I'm like, wow, you did that. Right. But yeah, like I think everyone just needs a little push in the right direction, and a lot of people again just don't get it from their own families, which is sad, but it's what friends are for.
I think even growing up, I always shied away from I would say like TV shows that like portrayed sex, because I don't know if it was just like, you know, my parents covering my eyes when like the sex scenes came on, or what it was, but also, you know, they have sex ed in school, right? But they never teach you how to get sex. Like, okay, like the anatomy of the penis and like, oh, like, you know, this is how, you know, you should use the condoms, contraceptives, Like they teach you about all these things. But how do I get some, right? And I'm just there like damn, it's like you're teaching the information backwards.
No, I agree with you. I I actually think this is a big problem, and why why rape culture, like sexual assault culture, exists so much in like college. Like all college campuses have crazy rates of sexual assault, and it's because like fresh 18-year-olds that have never been taught. Yeah. Like to your point, like not just the anatomy of sex, but like the social part, like how, right? Yes. Like how to ask a girl for sex.
Yeah. Why do I gotta go on YouTube to find? No, literally. Yeah. Teach that shit in school.
No, I actually there should be a class that's like, this is how to have like consensual sex. Yes. Because like people, I don't know, like all you do, like you watch porn and porn will teach you the opposite things. Like no, you don't do that.
You don't ask a girl to go to the van, tie her ass up, and start fucking her, like, even though she says no.
No, or like you don't, or I don't know, like even in like Hollywood, right? Like if you watch media, like if you watch fucking like The Notebook, which was a good movie that made me cry, but like. That was some like non-consensual shit. The way the way Ryan Gosling like would kiss this girl like without asking, or like he like honestly almost like stalked her. Like he kept like trying to find her. Until...
I will kill myself unless you go out with me. And that's not, I will kill.
That's not what you do, guys. That's not what you do. And so there needs to be a class that's just like, hey, like if you want to get a girl, like. Be nice to her, right? If you like a girl, bring her some flowers. Yes. And if you want to kiss her, right? Like ask if you can kiss her. Yes. And if she likes it,
set a vibe. Invite her and maybe catch signs. Here are the signs that she's into you. Here are the signs that she's not. Mm-hmm. And if but there's also like signs where like she's not, but she's still kind of into it. Mm-hmm. But that's also got to be like, throw a video up. Just why do you think they don't teach that in college? Do you think it's not formal education is what it is, right? It's informal education, which is why like kids go out of college to seek it, but it is very important towards like a person's like
I don't know, for me I think it's about, if I had to guess, I would think it's about money, right? Like college institutions are really just businesses. Like they're just trying to make a profit, unless it's like state funded, right? But like a place like Penn or like Stanford, like whenever sexual assault happens, they just try to cover it under the rug, because if it's a big thing, then they'll lose people that come to their school, which is they lose money, they lose like business, and they get a lot of sponsors and like or like donations, like big donors, right? Yeah. And again, the thing about these big donors or like old traditional people is they're very anti-sex. So imagine, right? Like imagine being like, I don't know, like, like someone that donates like billions of dollars to Penn. Yeah. That's very like conservative, and finding out that Penn wants to teach a class on how to have sex or whatever. Like they'll be like, I'm gonna withdraw my donations, and I really think that's why like these schools are also so like prude and timid. Like they always play on the safe side because that's where the money is at. That's my guess though.
Yeah. I mean, it's only speculation, but. I mean, if I was to start a fraternity, I would teach them like, hey, hold on now, we gonna treat these girls with respect. We gonna fuck them good, but we gonna treat them with respect. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. I wish if you were at my college with a frat like that, maybe my college years would have been better.
Yeah, I just get a whole army of simps just falling in love.
I love simping. Yeah. Simping is underrated. I love being a simp. I love dating simps. Like it's just good to fully love another person without holding back and treating them right. Like why is that a bad thing?
Yeah. And then sex is a whole lot better too when you're like into somebody emotionally, and then you guys could share more more so than like one night stands. Because one night stands is just kind of like
it's like fine.
It's cool, but it's just like you don't really get into like the kings. You don't get into like what really makes you feel good. You don't get to like just bend them over the kitchen counter with no regard. And
how did you know my kink? What the fuck? Sorry. I feel like to kind of close on that topic is like. Yeah, the people we're looking up to aren't doing it for us. Like, our parents are not teaching us, right? Our teachers are not doing it. Institutions are not doing it. So really just, like...
We gotta do it.
Yeah, and just talk. Like, just don't be afraid to talk and ask. Like, I feel like we try to play so many games with, like, love and sex. Like, oh, I can't ask her to kiss. That'll make me look lame or not cool. Like... Yeah. Just ask. Like, and really, if the other side is playing games, like, move on. Like, you don't want to waste your time with that either. Like, I really feel like the way I have, like... like really good moments and like healthy relationships and things like that now is just by talking about it. Like, hey, are you into me or not?
You've had guys ask like, hey, can I kiss you?
I thought it was so sexy.
Word?
Yeah, he was like that's happened to me with like a mid guy, and he suddenly became sexy, and I'm like, you know what? I will fuck you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There
was one.
You know what? I'm gonna do a little trial run on the. Hey, can I? Wait. How do you say it? Like, hey, can I kiss you? Or did he say it sexy? Like,
it was kind of. I think it was kind of like that.
Hey,
but yeah, we were having one. We were like having a nice conversation, and it was just like this nice moment where we were kind of quiet, and he's like, yeah, like, can I kiss you?
Ooh,
and it was just, I was like, okay. And then it was actually, yeah, like, it was a one night stand, but it was like very sweet for me throughout the whole way, because every time he wanted to try something else, yeah, he would be like, can I touch you here? Like, can I take off your shirt? Like, is it okay? Like, does this feel good? And I felt so safe, like, the whole time. Because, yeah, like, I really was not even planning on, like, a one night stand. For that, it was just... But yeah, I was like, you know what, whatever. I feel good now, so why not? And like, and I know you say it's a hit or miss, and yes, like some, I don't know, some people like the game or whatever, but like, I guess you have to ask yourself like what kind of person you want to be with. Like, do you want someone that's like really okay with communicating with you and like figuring these things out? Because I think for me, that sex gets better when you're able to be like, hey, I don't really like, you know, getting head. Can you just finger me instead, right? Like, and being with someone that's willing to like talk with you in that way, like that's how you're gonna learn. Like is by trying things out and talking to people. Like, because if you're just trying to do it all in your own head, like it's gonna be so hard. You
definitely need to, and don't be scared to vocalize and communicate. And the faster you do it, the quicker you'll get to better sex.
Facts. Yeah. And anyone that shames you for trying to communicate what you want, like, they're not worth it. Yeah, no, definitely not.
And it's also about like some trial and error, and trial and error takes time. And it's also about learning. Porn is good for learning, and sometimes, you know, sex tapes is cool too, you know.
What? Sex
tapes. Yeah. I don't know, that's just me. I watch it back. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing that pretty good. Yeah.
That's an idea.
Yeah. No.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I be going a little crazy.
It's tough for me though, because I don't know if I can ever trust someone with like a video of me.
But that's why you gotta make a good video. So even if at least it's like man, I'm going crazy then. You know, like the angle's nice, yeah, that is me. You know, like right, cause like okay, like to just dispel that real quick, right? On the off chance it gets leaked, it's not your, like, it wasn't your consent, so obviously it is a terrible thing, right? It's not consensual, and it's, but on the off chance it does, right? You don't want it to be this gloomy, dark, you're like you're like taking weak strokes. You want that shit to be hot. Some good lighting, some like, you know, because at that point, at that point, there's no shame behind it. I mean, there is still. I mean, I can't speak for you, but I don't think this is a good way to say your take is leaked. I don't know if I'm digging myself in a hole, but
I get your point. I do think there's a gender difference here, though, in the way that society treats leaked stuff from like women versus men, and like. I think especially for me, someone with like a professional career, like even if I myself am not ashamed of this, like it's like, I don't know if I ever try to like get a job and someone's like, oh well, she has a sex video. And and then again, like because these institutions are so anti-sex, like I really wish sex work and like porn, whatever, is like decriminalized and destigmatized, because there's nothing wrong with it. Like people are just having a good time.
I mean, in Europe, it's so open, it's so free, it's so everybody, you know, there's just sex or like every corner. It's like a fucking McDonald's out there. So I think it's openly sold in Europe, you know what I'm saying? So in America that's for sure the case. But yeah, I don't know, I think you would have to be with a partner that you really, really trust, and even then you have like the way you record it, it's got to be safe. You can't just upload it on the cloud or something, or like I'll put it in a Google Drive or something. I was like, whoops, that's the office Dropbox.
No, I've had nightmares. I've had nightmares where like I accidentally like upload something to like my Insta story, like the wrong video.
Oh nah.
And I like wake up and I'm like, oh thank God, because like immediately like the notifis come in and they're like, and everyone's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it is a good way to like if you're away from your partner, it's that's a good way to, because then it just, I don't need to watch porn. I just watch what we got. Yeah.
That's actually really romantic.
It is, right?
That is. It's a good idea. Well, that's a tip for people out there if you wanna.
Yeah, and I think it's sex tapes is to be honest, it's more so for the guy, and right? I think.
No, it's for the girl too.
Right, it's for the girl.
It's the new meta.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should put that energy out there. Yeah, ladies, these sex tapes are for you. Come on now. Take me through like some dark moments. If you're comfortable.
No,
if not,
I am. No,
okay.
I'd share anything with you, dude. You're my man. But it's just stuff where like there are a lot of times growing up where, I'd always hear my parents crying. I'd hear that, they talk about like, well, we have to skip meals because we can't afford food. I was on food stamps all my life. There was a point of time after the '08 recession where both of my parents lost their jobs. Couldn't find one for like years. We were just in debt until it got to a point where we had to sell our house to pay back some of the debt. And then,
so where were you guys living?
And then all of us just, we didn't have a home for a while. We were like, we needed to figure out a place to be. So we were homeless for a little bit.
Just like on the street?
No.
Family?
So my parents would sleep in the car. And then my sister couch surfed from like friends and like relatives for a couple months. And my brother and I.
There's 3 siblings.
Yeah,
I mean, okay. 5. Okay. Also, okay.
Well, no, not 5 siblings. 5 in my family.
Yeah.
But my brother and I would share this twin mattress that fit into like this. It's like this office storage at this place where my mom worked. So it's like if you go into like a nail salon or whatever, and like there's usually like a little door in the back.
Yeah.
And like we would sleep in there
every night.
Yeah. Until we finally were able to find a townhouse and rented a place. But anyways, so that's some of my childhood, for example, and like in college too. Like it was very rough because my mom became disabled. She couldn't work anymore, and so I was the only one working, and that's why I was so driven to like, I need to find a way out to provide for my family. And my dad doesn't work either, but actually the reason why like my handle is Jasmine Rice Girl, even though my name isn't Jasmine, and I actually don't I don't mind when people call me Jasmine. It feels like a huge part of me, was because all through college I ate Jasmine rice every day, like just plain rice. Like I just had a rice cooker. I would buy rice at the grocery store with my food stamps, and it's just like rice and soy sauce. That was it. And so when I was making a Twitter and I was like, wow, what's a big part of me that like feels really core to my identity? I was like, well,
why Jasmine? Jasmine. Okay.
That was the type of rice.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that was some of my childhood, and I mean things have been a lot better now. I'm still working to like pay back a lot of the debt that we have, and make sure that my family has a place to stay. But
there's still debt currently.
Yeah, we were in over like 6 figures of debt when things were really bad, and so yeah, the way, right, like I just feel like the way systems in America works is always, it's such a perpetuating cycle that makes it harder for people who are low income to get up, right? Because it's like, if you don't have money, you get bank overdraft charges. If you don't have money, you need debt, and then the debt keeps accumulating. Like it's so hard to get out.
Wow. During that time, what do you think was the stretch where you guys were in, like, you guys had to accumulate the debt? Was it for just how? Sorry, am I getting into a person? Okay.
It was after both of my parents lost their jobs in the recession, and then so none of them were making money, but we still had, right, like mortgage, bills, rent to pay, and so every month my mom would just borrow money in order to pay so that we could live and have a place,
Do you feel like that like going through those times has made you stronger as a person?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
I don't regret anything that's ever happened in my life, and I think I'm really, really grateful because I'm so happy where I am now, right? Like I think I have such a beautiful life because of, you know, all these things that push me to be who I am, and like, I don't know, here I am today, like talking to the Jimmy fucking Saint,
God,
you know, like I have amazing friends.
Don't do that. You do have amazing friends. You do have some cool ass friends. I mean, we have a lot of mutual friends, so yeah. No, our circle is dope. You're the founder and one of the owners of Fanhouse.
Yes, that's correct. I co-founded Fanhouse about 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago now. I was a college student. I went to UPenn for undergrad. I was from a low-income family, so I was trying to provide for my family, send money home, and then bang bang, COVID hit. We all got sent home, lost my job, and I was very like, damn, I need a way to figure out how to make money online.
And you decided doing a startup was gonna help your family.
So it was a gradual. It was kind of a gradual progression, but it was like I was like, God damn, I need to figure out a way to make money online.
Yes.
And so I spent honestly like a year trying a ton of different platforms. Like I tried Patreon, I was on Twitch, I was doing brand deals, I was, you know, like on OnlyFans. I tried all of these.
You were
on
OnlyFans.
I was on OnlyFans.
How much were you making on OnlyFans?
Anywhere from like 10 to like 35,000 a month, depending on the month. Cause shut up, Jimmy. You say that, but you're kind of you're making it right now. You're making it right now.
I'm making some money. No, but you were on OnlyFans, but you weren't really posting anything crazy at all.
No, I was actually posting a lot of singing covers on OnlyFans. I can't even begin to describe the kind of messages I was getting. Right, like it was like every other message was an unsolicited dick pic,
right,
or somebody saying that they were gonna rape me. It was like I was getting nightmares about these messages that I was getting.
Yeah.
And I was like, this has to stop. Like I need to provide for my family, but I want to do this in a different way, like in a way that I can really own and be myself.
Yeah.
And that's really when I was like, okay, I should just build my own platform then, right? I'm smart. I'm a go-getter, like I'm ambitious, and I was very lucky to like meet my co-founders who are very technical and Stanford grads. And so we came together, and this was around August of 2020, so a few months after I graduated. Wow. We started working on this idea, and I was so excited. I was like, I really want to build a platform that is like for creators by creators, right? Like puts creators first, like helps creators build these loyal fan communities online, like these fan clubs, and helps them like earn an additional revenue, you know, for all the shit that's going on. Get people through the pandemic. And we launched in November of 2020, and since then it's been in the last 2 years we've paid out over $10 million to creators. We've raised over 20 million in funding, so we we have a team of like 25 now that's like just working every day to roll out features. And as you guys know from Jimmy, right, like Fanhouse is this place where you get to support him as a creator, see all his content, like get extra podcasts, you know, comment on stuff, like interact with each other in the house chats. And I think that's really what we want to be able to do for more and more creators every day. Sorry that was long-winded, but that's kind of how I got into Fanhouse and why it's so special to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Jasper.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so passionate about this conversation. And
No, I think this was a great conversation.
Yeah, I really want people to know this, so thanks for...
Yeah, of course. I think, this was dope. We had some good takes, some good stories.
Really hope this is helpful for somebody.
Yeah. Appreciate you for coming out. Jasmine,
always fun. I love you, man.
Love you too. Go listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. Go rate it. Give us a rating. And please join Fanhouse. Spread the word about Fanhouse. It'll make her happy. It'll make me happy.
Subscribe to Jimmy on Fanhouse.
Yeah. I also made a Down Bad Show highlights channel, which is steadily growing to like, we're at 5,000 subscribers now. It's going crazy. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the highlights channel to, you know, if these long-winded podcasts are too much for, if you just want to watch like a little bit of something, and we have a bunch of topics that's being covered on the highlights channel. So definitely check out Down Bad Show highlights and subscribe. Also, shout out to Gamer Subs. We stay drinking, y'all. This is like fuel for these podcasts. Peace.